Ukrainian army faces challenges with new recruits. New recruits may help Ukraine address its shortage of personnel, but their age and combat readiness are issues causing headaches for commanders. At a secret location in the northern province of Chernihiv, the Ukrainian military is urgently training new recruits for rapid deployment to the front lines. What is notable is their age, with most being over 40, and some even over 50. Among them is Rostyslav, a gray-haired recruit from Odessa, married with 2 children. Just a month ago, Rostyslav was a driver. Now, he may have to fight in the Donbass region or in the area under Ukrainian control in Russia's Kursk province after a cross-border offensive earlier this month. "I think it's the right thing to do," Rostyslav said about the Kursk offensive. "Look how long they've been on our territory. We've endured for a long time and have to do something. You can't just sit and watch them take your land." Rostyslav and his comrades are undergoing a crash course in training in Chernihiv, as Ukraine urgently needs more soldiers to counter Russian forces at the front lines. Under the scorching sun, the recruits repeatedly jump into armored personnel carriers and rush out to fire at enemy positions. In a nearby forest, the recruits repel a simulated Russian assault on trenches. The sound of grenades shakes the area. The group of recruits has completed a 30-day basic training course and is now moving on to advanced medical training, learning how to handle fractures, gunshot wounds, and severe blood loss. They share rare moments of levity amid the heavy atmosphere when they discover medical gauze misplaced somewhere. But no one can escape the reality that these situations could happen to them in a few weeks or months. A Ukrainian soldier at the training site said recruits would not be sent to the front lines if they lacked sufficient combat skills. "We're not sending them to die," the soldier said. The cross-border offensive allowed Ukrainian forces to control nearly 1,300 square kilometers of Russian territory, boosting morale within the military. However, opening up another front means that Ukrainian commanders will find it difficult to decide where to send additional troops. Maxim, 30, appears to be the youngest in the group of recruits. "We need to keep training. The more we train, the more useful we become at the front lines," Maxim said. When asked where he might be deployed, Maxim stated that he was ready to defend territory in the Donbass or fight in Kursk, though his response was accompanied by a worried smile. Ukraine is reportedly recruiting tens of thousands of new recruits each month, following the introduction of a controversial new conscription law in May, which lowered the draft age for men from 27 to 25. The greatest need for reinforcements comes from the infantry. Recruits partially fulfill the demand for personnel, but also present challenges for Ukrainian commanders. Ukraine finds itself at a disadvantage in many areas of fighting against Russian forces in the east, notably around the strategic city of Pokrovsk in Donetsk province. Some recruits don't want to pull the trigger. They see the enemy in the trenches, but don't fire. "That's why our men are dying," said a frustrated commander of Ukraine's 47th Brigade. "If they don't use their weapons, they're useless." Ukrainian commanders believe that new recruits have contributed to recent failures, allowing Russian forces to advance in the east, particularly around Pokrovsk. If Pokrovsk falls, it would allow Russia to push further west, cutting off Ukraine's supply lines and creating a tactical disaster. Russian forces are now just 10 kilometers from Pokrovsk. The new Ukrainian recruits are far from the experienced professional soldiers who fought in the first year of the conflict. They have not even been fully trained at the minimum level, according to commanders and soldiers from 4 brigades defending the Pokrovsk area. Some recruits lack confidence in their superiors' battle plans and leave their positions without orders. Frustrated with the quality of recruits being sent from recruitment centers to the front lines, Ukrainian commanders are now seeking to recruit soldiers directly for training. The main issue is survival instincts for new soldiers. Before, troops would hold their positions until the last moment. Now, just hearing artillery in the distance, they retreat, said a soldier from the 110th Brigade. But not all recruits run away. "No, there are still those with enthusiasm, but they are few," the soldier added. "Positions can be held as long as there are soldiers like them. In some cases, recruits have fled the battlefield. That creates panic and chaos, said a battalion commander from the 47th Brigade. That's also why we've lost ground. Meanwhile, Viktor Kevliuk, a military expert at the Defense Strategies Institute based in Ukraine, believes the training program for recruits is adequate and appropriate. He accuses Ukrainian commanders of looking for excuses to justify strategic failures. In fierce battles like those in Pokrovsk, tactical decisions made at the right time by commanders make all the difference, according to Kevliuk.